They trying to give you death. I'm gonna give you life.
And some of y'all don't like it the way that I now spit like MC2 dolls on the holier than thou kick. Smack your face for your blasphemous ways, and everybody they quote me like the latest catchphrase. I'm on a mission that goes beyond material, so eat this killer series, serial killer cereal. Killer for real, drop on the beer with a sound you can feel like cold hard steel. That swarm like the blood that flows out of your head as I rock non-stop till I'm on my deathbed. And I can swap out a catalytic converter with a few hand tools, but I can never be murdered. Spit the rapid fire like around the shells. I got the lyrical skills that sends the devil to hell. So don't disrespect what you can't understand, cause I can still squash your brain in the palm of my hand. Stupid.
Another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given the power to take peace from the earth and to make men slay each other. To him was given a large sword.
What's good, my people? It's your boy in the building, MC Tutor. What up? Yeah, giving another shout out, giving another salute to my man up in the Bronx, Hassan Campbell, for once again shooting right from the hip, telling it like it is, translating the signs that are out there, and yeah, I'm in agreement with a lot of what he says. Again, never met the man in person yet, but I'm in full agreement with a lot of what he says and a lot of points that he brings up. And even when I don't initially agree with it, I could still sit back and think rationally, objectionally, and still kind of see where he's coming from with some of the things he says. Even the stuff that I don't fully agree with initially, I could see the angle from where he's viewing it, and it's like, okay, from that angle, it's agreeable, if you follow what I'm saying. So, master of sound quality, keeper of the chalice, founding father figure of industrial rap. But anyway, yes, I gotta give my shout out to Hassan for just wielding the facts, okay? Coming through yet once more with the knowledge of the gods. You know, bringing down that hammer of truth. And he said something, you know, talk about things that I didn't like initially agree with, but then didn't take much time, you know, so, as long as he was allowed to explain himself uninterrupted, which he was in this particular rebroadcast of what looked like an earlier live broadcast. Excuse me. Talking about how, alright, I was with him on the rich Donald Trump versus the rich Illuminati. Okay, I could kind of get that part. But then, them actually having control of him now, where it seemed like they didn't before. But now they kind of like are putting their marionette strings on him now to get him to dance for them, because they finally checkmated him. And it is quite possible, and I could see why he would say that, and I could see why this is possible with this impeachment thing. And then all of a sudden he's doing something that was very out of his MO, out of his character, because he was a person that wanted to avoid war. He was a person that spoke of being anti-war. He was against the war in Iraq, did not support it at all, did not support it when it happened, criticized the president for it, who was another Republican at the time. You know, kind of backed him up with Afghanistan, but not with Iraq, which a lot of America felt the same way. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? This guy that's supposedly hiding out in Afghanistan is the one that did it. Turned out they found him in Pakistan 10 years later and popped him. Well, that's the mainstream story. The Underground Railroad story is that they already had him in that first Afghan raid. In other words, Saddam Hussein even outlived Osama bin Laden, according to the Underground Railroad story. But the mainstream story is that on Obama's watch, just right before he was due for re-election, about a year and a half before he's due for re-election, the Marines popped Osama bin Laden. But getting back to the whole Trump thing, okay, this guy was anti-war. He was against the U.S. invading Iraq. He was even for pulling troops finally out of Iraq, like Obama promised but didn't fully deliver on. So he was doing that, pulling the troops out, not getting involved with any conflict between Turkey and who were they supposed to be fighting? Serbia? I don't even remember. Not getting involved with Aleppo, not getting involved with Syria, Lebanon, and these other places. Pulling back, not really attacking anybody except with drone strikes, which is far less than the drone strikes Obama used in his first 4 years as president. Actually, between Bush, Obama, and Trump, Obama, who's supposedly a prince of peace, so to speak, no blasphemy intended there, but, supposed to be some, advocate for peace, he was the one that used the most out of the three. Yet the two Republicans that he's bookended by are supposed to be these big-time warmongers, especially George W. Bush, and which he was a damn warmonger, so was Cheney. But yet, they used less drone strikes than Obama. What's up with that? But anyway, getting back to this whole thing. Trump is anti-war, and all of a sudden, he strikes Soleimani, that commander from Iran, strikes him, drone strike, by the way. And now for reinforcements to cushion any possible repercussions from it, all those troops are going back to Iraq, back to Saudi Arabia, who's an enemy of Iran, that sort of thing. So that's what's going on. And so he's doing things that are out of character. And the theory is that he was chin-checked. He was checkmated by the shadow government. And the face of the shadow government currently is no longer the conservatives, it's the liberals. They are the mainstream face of the shadow government right now. And when there's a full-on regime change, that's when the mainstream face of the shadow government will change. So that's what we have going on. And so, yeah, I gotta credit Hassan Campbell for being the single first person on YouTube to come up with that theory. So salute to Hassan for that. Yeah, and I could see that happening. I could see that happening. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm actually crossing my fingers hoping he's wrong, but kind of looks like he's right. I'm just saying. You know, it's not like I'm disagreeing with him, but I'm kind of hoping he's wrong, you know. But looks a lot like he's right there. Looks a lot like he's right. And let's see. Second Amendment under attack again in Virginia. Governor of Virginia attacking the Second Amendment. And now this was the guy that was featured in a photo of somebody wearing blackface next to somebody in a Ku Klux Klan uniform or costume. But the costume looked so authentic. It looked just like a real Ku Klux Klan uniform. How did that happen? Maybe because it really was. And was being worn under the guise of a Halloween costume. You know, which you can't really fake. You can't really fake blackface if you're a white person with blackface. You know, it shows on your wrists and things like that. You know, especially if you don't get your neck, or if you lift your collar a little bit, you see a little white here. You know, the gig is up. You know. But, yeah, so he's supposed to be either the person in blackface or the person in the Klan's uniform. They don't know. They don't know. But they do know now that he wants to take your guns. Ironically, as a seated governor for the state where our nation's first president, George Washington, is from. Okay? And the United States, whose first president was George Washington. Remember hearing about him in school? Anyway, the United States, whose first president was George Washington, became the United States mostly because of the right to keep and bear arms. And another reason was the opposition of taxation without representation. So, see, their way to tiptoe around that is they're giving you your taxation and fronting like your representation. They're fronting as your representation while giving you your taxation. So they kind of got us there, you know, they kind of got us there. But the right to keep and bear arms, we got the right to take a stand for that. We do. We really do. And we got to call out these mass shootings for what they are. And I don't know, people get mad at me when I say people really die from these mass shootings. I believe they're doing a number of things all at once. Like we have I believe we have our own Manchurian candidates here in the making that have never seen a battleground, never seen a battlefield, never been to war, never been a POW. They're just raised right here. Just raised right here. And Grand Theft Auto and Big Pharma is their mama. So, you figure out where I'm going with that. You figure out where I'm going with that. So, that's what you have going on. Because you figure, and I mentioned this in my song, The Last Days in Time, which you could get on iTunes. The Last Days in Time on the album of Fiery Red Horse by MC Too Tall. Don't forget to put the dot after the M and the C. Don't put M.C space Too Tall. It's M.C Too Tall. Not Two Tone, not Mick Too Tall. MC Too Tall. Okay, you got that? Good. So, yeah, that's what you got to do. And, yeah, you would go on iTunes and download the song The Last Days in Time. And in there I got the lyrics that go, what makes a typical teen want to kill? Who made it okay to give him that pill? And then cut him off with no therapy at all? Sell him a gun and send him to the mall. Hypnotized by what they see on the screen, reading the medicine chest like a fiend. But those ain't the kids, that's the parents you see. The apple didn't fall too far from the tree. Mixing some booze and financial woes. Taunted with the neighbor's car and new clothes. As soon as he thinks he's staring at his wife, he lunges at the poor bastard with a knife. This is the psychotic cycle we're in. You think any government wants us to end? If you believe that, then you'll believe any old line. We're in the last days in time. And that's what's going on here, folks. Excuse me, getting over a cold. But that is what's going on here, folks. The last days in time. And yet angels sound their trumpets. The threat of global warming. There's a passage in Revelation that speaks of angels pouring bowls onto the sun to make the sun hotter. And then there's the theory that William Cooper has. And he says it in his book, Behold a Pale Horse, and he also said it in a few interviews, including one that he did with CNN. And of course, he, a long time after that, he, about 8 to 10 years later, he had a falling out with CNN, but he did a really good in-depth interview with CNN. He did a really good in-depth interview with CNN, and what happened was, he mentioned that it could be that they're taking this and reading it, just like a script, and carrying it out just like a script. So these are things you need to watch out. This is why when I say watch out for certain things and certain people and certain this and certain that and this and that and the other thing, why I believe it's okay to kind of like convey a message in the esoteric, or what people say is talking in riddles, is because intelligent minds read between the lines, okay? And so that's where I'm going with this. And it is not only my obligation, but it is my pleasure to drop some knowledge on you. And as I said about my comrade that I never met up in the Bronx, my man Hassan there, knowledge of the gods he's got, okay? So you could choose whether or not you want to follow my channel, but I would definitely recommend you support my man up in the Bronx there. Person, I never met him, but I agree with a lot of what he says up there. Dropping jewels on you. Don't be the swine that lays waste to the pearls cast upon you. Don't be that swine, okay? Be more divine than that swine. Okay, follow follow my man up there. And yes, I could use your following as well. Like, subscribe, share, like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Alright, stay strong, keep kicking that slang. Trust in God, respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, follow my music and my ways, and I'll say it again, stay strong, keep kicking that slang. It's your boy Tutor.
And you see me creeping up on your page, because you the only one I ain't passed yet, but I done creeped up on you so fast I see you. You see me too, rotten little nigga.